Good evening once again. Day 136 of the Biden administration. Not good enough. That is the latest message from the president to the Republicans' counteroffer on infrastructure and job creation. As you know, he's been trying to work out a bipartisan deal with Senator Shelley Moore Capito, who's been the leading Republican in the talks. Today, she told Biden the Republicans would be willing to add about $50 billion in new spending to the party's latest overall $928 billion proposal. Well, here's the reaction from the White House, and we quote, "The current offer did not meet the president's objectives to grow the economy, tackle the climate crisis, create new jobs." Biden added they'll keep talking on Monday. This all comes, of course, as the latest jobs report shows 559,000 jobs added to the U.S. economy, better than last month, not as high as some economists had projected. Republicans say extended unemployment benefits in Biden's COVID relief bill were too generous. They're keeping people who need jobs from taking jobs. Half of the states, all led by Republican governors, are cutting off or cutting back benefits before the September expiration date. Today, Biden defended his economic strategy.
As we continue this recovery, we're going to hit some bumps along the way. Of course, that'll happen. We can't reboot the world's largest economy like flipping on a light switch. There's going to be ups and downs in jobs and economic reports, but we're going to be supply chain issues and price pressures on the way back to stability and steady growth.
Meantime, those two most recent ransomware attacks on a pipeline supplying fuel to much of the eastern half of the country and to the nation's leading meat processor, they have forced the administration to confront the reality of cyber criminals targeting our country. FBI Director Chris Wray told the Wall Street Journal the Bureau is, quote, investigating about 100 different types of ransomware, many tracing back to hackers in Russia, and compared to the current spate of cyber attacks with the challenge posed by the September 11th terrorist attacks. White House says Putin will hear from Biden about the cyber attacks during their Geneva summit later this month. The nation's former cybersecurity chief says that discussion is long overdue.
We need to make Putin blink. We need to hit his pain points. We can turn the screws on, and we've just chosen in the past not to.
Today, the Capitol was the stage for the culmination of a two-year legal battle as former Trump White House counsel Don McGahn appeared before the House Judiciary Committee, better late than never, to testify about Trump's effort to obstruct Robert Mueller's inquiry. You may recall Trump tried to get McGahn to fire Mueller, but he refused. House Democrats first subpoenaed McGahn back in 2019. A deal with the Biden administration led to today's interview. A transcript of what he said won't be made public before next week, but one lawmaker who heard what McGahn said described his testimony.
He's bringing to life Volume 2 of the Mueller report, the turbulent times in the White House with the president obsessed over Robert Mueller's investigation of Russian interference, how he had to fend off the pressure of the president to talk to Rod Rosenstein and to try to get him to oust Mueller as special counsel.
There's also new reporting tonight about the former president's current legal battles. New York Times reports, quote, a senior finance executive at Donald Trump's family business has testified before a state grand jury in Manhattan as prosecutors ramp up their investigation of Mr. Trump and his company. The executive, Jeffrey McConney, has long served as the Trump Organization's controller, making him one of a handful of high-ranking executives to oversee the company's finances. Times notes that McConney worked at the Trump Organization for 35 years and that he worked with the CFO, Alan Weisselberg, who is also himself under scrutiny from the Manhattan DA. This was also the day Facebook announced it will continue Trump's timeout suspension from the platform until at least January 2023, which, of course, will be after the 2022 midterm elections. But just as the 2024 presidential campaign cycle is getting underway, company says its decision stems from Trump's post on social media during the 1/6 riot and insurrection, which the feds now say will likely result in charges for some 550 people. They revised that number up today. Today, the former president responded with a statement that read in part, quote, They shouldn't be allowed to get away with this censoring and silencing. Our country can't take this abuse anymore. He added, next time I'm in the White House, there will be no more dinners at his request with Mark Zuckerberg. The suspension comes a day before Trump speaks at North Carolina's Republican State Convention. This afternoon, the White House was asked to weigh in on the Facebook decision.
As always, it's a decision for the company to make and any platform to make. We learned a lot from President Trump, the former president, over the last couple of years about his behavior and how he uses these platforms. It feels pretty unlikely that the zebra is going to change his stripes over the next 2 years.